these incredible and outsized benefits of trade due to our strong manufacturing, agriculture, aerospace sectors, and many others. That translates to nearly 12,000 Colorado jobs supported through exports to Canada and Mexico alone, with nearly 150,000 jobs in Colorado dedicated to global manufacturing. Those jobs create roughly $24 billion in manufacturing output for our state. Through internal polling of Colorado Chamber members, we determined that 70% of respondents said that it's important or very important for Congress to pass the United States-Canada, Mexico, USMCA trade agreement. Well, 20% were neutral. Additionally, not a single company said trade has a negative effect on their business. The Colorado Chamber is supportive of USMCA as well as reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank because it gives foreign nations the capital needed to purchase US, and more specifically, Colorado-made goods. Knowing all of this, where do you stand on passage of the USMCA as well as reauthorization of the EXIM Bank? Who would like to start? The senior member of the delegation, Congresswoman DeGette.
Well, let me thank you on behalf of the delegation for having us here. I can tell you it's one of the few opportunities we have on a bipartisan basis to all speak on issues, and we all really enjoy it and try to make our schedules work for it. And the other thing I will say, as the senior member of the delegation, we really do work hard collectively, Democrats and Republicans. We even work with the Senate where we have to, right? But we even work with the Senate to make sure that where we can in representing our state, we show a united front, and we're really, really proud of that. With respect to reauthorization of the Canada-Mexico-U.S. trade agreement, let me just say from my perspective, I have always believed that it's important for our state and for our country to have good trade policies, and I've frequently voted for trade deals when I think that they are they work for my constituents and for our state. And I also think that we desperately need to update and modernize the NAFTA agreement with Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. I have one really specific concern with this new proposal that's been put forward to Congress, and it's not something you might necessarily think of. Some of you know that I'm a senior member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, and on that committee I work a lot on biomedical issues and healthcare issues, and I've been working a lot on drug pricing issues in this Congress, and I am terribly worried about some language in this proposed deal that would help extend patent exclusivity for pharmaceutical companies, which could help increase the price of drugs just at the time when we're trying to deal with that. And so that's an issue that I'm trying to work through with some of my colleagues on the Appropriations Committee and on my committee before I can consider that bill. But I will look at that bill and make sure that it benefits the workers of Colorado. With respect to the Export-Import Bank, I have always supported that bill. I've co-sponsored that bill. I've always voted for it, and I intend to keep doing it.
Sure. Well, I just would associate myself with the remarks of the Dean of the Delegation. With respect to the Export-Import Bank reauthorization, that's certainly something I support. In terms of the trade deal, I think Congresswoman DeGette is right. Free and fair trade deals certainly have a pronounced impact on our state for the reasons that Joe mentioned in terms of agriculture, aerospace, and so many other sectors in our state. And I've certainly heard from a lot of businesses in the 2nd Congressional District that I'm honored to represent up in Boulder and Fort Collins and northern Colorado about the impact that a fair trade deal, an improved USMCA would have for them. I would say, there are some concerns that have been articulated by members of the caucus, the Democratic caucus, myself included, but I think we're all trying to get to yes. And, I think we've had a number of productive conversations with Ambassador Lighthouser, who's been very responsive to the needs and the concerns of the Democratic caucus. He's met with, I believe, just about every, there are 1 million caucuses in Congress, as I've learned in my first 8 months in Congress, and he's met with just about every one of them. I think those conversations and negotiations continue to happen. Enforcement is going to be important. Resolving the pharmaceutical provision that Congresswoman DeGette mentioned is going to be critical in order to get the kind of broad-based support that I would think a trade deal would need for passage in both chambers. So that's where we are, and I'm certainly going to continue to articulate my concerns and try to get those resolved with the caucus and go from there.
Great. Why don't we pass the mic that way, and Congressman Perlmutter, you can chime in while the mics go in that direction.
Okay, so for me, let's start with the Export-Import Bank. I'm on the Financial Services Committee. This one for me is a no-brainer. It really levels the playing field when China is underwriting different kinds of exports or European Union, whoever it may be. This really levels the playing field for us. There is resistance on the far left and the far right, but my guess is it's going to pass very easily. It's already passed out of our committee, and we think it will sail through the House and then on to the Senate. As to the USMCA, I met with the Consul General of Mexico yesterday, and she and I had a long conversation about this. And I'm leaning towards supporting it, but I want to see how things proceed. The thing that's different about this, and really there was a lot of resistance over the years to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. That was a big deal, and it was coming in under the Obama administration. Ultimately, Trump just terminated any effort to pass that. It may come back up, but this time there was a lot of resistance by unions, a lot of resistance by a whole variety of groups to that particular trade deal. I haven't heard that same kind of resistance this time. Now, it may be coming in the next month as we really address this trade agreement, but we haven't heard it, which is surprising to me as a Democrat with Donald Trump in the White House. We resisted when Obama was there, but it doesn't seem the resistance is as fierce, and really it's pretty quiet. So I feel there's a good chance this thing will keep moving. So,
Congressman Lamborn.
Well, like the members of Casey, I support free trade, and I like that as part of the USMCA. By the way, with Diane, I want to thank you all for having us here. Chuck Berry, you I know continue to do a great job. It was an honor to serve with you in the General Assembly years ago. And on the USMCA, the fact that President Trump has negotiated it and supports it, and his team means a lot to me. He's obviously hard-nosed on trade, and if he can support it, that speaks loudly to me. I want to wait and see if there's any last-minute minor changes. I know no substantive major changes can be made at this point, but maybe a few minor changes probably won't make a difference in my overall support, but I want to reserve judgment until I see whether or not there are any last-minute changes. But basically, I think it's a good deal, and it supports free trade, and I think it'll be good for Colorado companies and consumers and the people of Colorado to have prices available at lower costs. I think that's a good thing, win-win situation.
Congressman Crow.
Thank you, all of you, for being here today. Thank you to the Colorado Chamber for convening this. It's really a great opportunity for all of us to talk about these issues. And Joe, thank you for moderating as well. I would echo the comments of my colleagues here with regard to the Export-Import Bank. This is a great leveling tool for us, as Ed mentioned. And the bottom line is it will directly and substantially assist companies in our district, in our state, to compete on a more level playing field with our international competitors, and it'll continue to drive very high-paying jobs for Colorado. So I certainly wholly support that. And with respect to USMCA, we have to see the enabling legislation. The devil is always in the details here. Mr. Lighthizer has not released that yet, so we need to see the language. And one of the things I'm going to be looking for, in addition to the things that my colleagues mentioned, is making sure that we learned the lessons of NAFTA, which certainly there were some very adverse impacts for American industrial base and American workers in NAFTA. We have to learn those lessons. And one of the most important lessons, in my view, is that for us to compete on a level playing field, we have to make sure that the labor protections that are in place across the partners to the agreement are across the board. So I want to make really darn sure that the labor protections and the guarantees that we've been provided by Mexico are in the four corners of the agreement, that they are enforcing their labor provisions so that our industry and our workers truly are competing on a level playing field.